Hi everyone, I'm Margie O'Brien. Welcome to this Capitol Spotlight. My pleasure to introduce you to one of our newest reps, Richard Fascia. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So I'd like to start in the beginning with just the work experience. Decades as a law enforcement officer. How does that translate to life as a public servant now?
Well, first I want to say this is probably the pinnacle of my career as a public servant that started when I was 21. And you start out as a cop with the intention of helping people. And here we are, 40-odd years later, still wanting to help people.
That's great. And I'm sure that that was a really easy conversation to have with people on the campaign trail.
Of course. I mean, people automatically relate to someone who's been in law enforcement, public service, but someone who has made a career out of helping others, and they immediately know that they have a new friend.
And it must have been great for you to be knocking on doors for a positive reason.
It was awesome. All 11,816 of them.
Oh, how many sneakers did you go through?
Only one pair, but I blew out a knee too, so the knee doesn't really count as part of the job.
And what were you hearing from people?
People are concerned about their taxes. People are concerned about the future of education in the towns and also in the city of Cranston. And, you know, they wonder about what that future holds for their children and grandchildren.
And what do you say?
I'm going to do everything I can to make that as stable as possible, to make that as palatable as possible, and make it as inexpensive as possible.
And of course, you can say, look, I was a parent too. I sent my kids to public school. I know what you're thinking. I know your concerns, that kind of thing. Very relatable.
Yeah, I mean, I have two children who are products of the Johnston public school system. My daughter has gone on to have a master's degree in behavioral science. My son is in the retail industry. But the foundation that they got in public school was great. However, as time has gone on, you know, it has, I think, changed quite a bit. The people who are teaching, the children who are in the school system, the amount or number of children in the schools. And so we embrace change as long as we can control it.
Interesting. Tell me your reasoning for wanting to be a public servant.
It's the way I was raised. My mom and dad said, you know, one, there's nothing better than giving back to the people. Two, if you can get a job where you can do that, where you can make a reasonable paycheck, well, that's not so bad either. So I took that advice, and as you said, I became a cop, and that was the best decision of my life, except for getting married to my wife.
You have to put that in there. So you're no stranger to the House. You actually have a great family connection to the House of Representatives.
I do. So about 60 or 70 years ago, my grandfather had a job. He was an older man, he had retired, and he got a job as the doorman at the House of Representatives. And back then, the doorman opened the door, because they kept the doors closed. He opened the door for the representatives and the visitors and welcomed them and closed the door behind them, and that was his job, to smile and say hello and you know, be very formal with them. He had his gray suit, and he had a little badge on his lapel, and it was he was so proud of that. I remember him. I was only maybe 5 or 6 years old when this was happening, and then unfortunately he got sick and died not too many years later. But it was kind of awesome for me to walk into that chamber for the very first time and look at those doors that my grandfather held, and now I was passing through those doors as a representative.
And as a child, you might have been a little awestruck by the building and how formal it is and how grand it is, and now you are sitting at that seat.
I'm still awestruck. This is a magnificent opportunity. It is an awesome structure and chamber, and the amount of history that has passed through these doors and through these halls is absolutely unfathomable.
Interesting. So I've been noticing during the interview you have a special ring on. Can you tell me about that?
I do. I'm a member of the Masons. And many of us wear a ring similar to this. There's many different styles, but we are very proud to be Masons. It is the largest fraternity of men in the world, and we think we do some of the greatest good of anybody in the world.
And is your mission to do good?
The mission is to do good through charity. And we focus specifically on children. And you may have heard of the Shriners Burn Hospitals and the Shriners Children's Hospitals. You may have heard of the Tall Cedars of Lebanon, who have raised millions for Jerry's kids. There's also the Scottish Rite Masons, who are devoted to children with learning disabilities. And so all of us are focused on children and young people and making their lives better, because maybe they didn't get quite the best shake in life. We do what we can to improve that, to the tune of over $5 million a day, every single day of the year.
Wow, that's really impressive. Representative Richard Fascia, I think that you have a theme in your life: to do good.
I plan to, for as long as I live. I hope to be doing good for others, and this is just another vehicle to do that.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, and thank you for joining us for this Capitol Spotlight. I'm Margie O'Brien with Capitol TV.